Trump takes over D.C., but no one knows who's in charge or what they're supposed to do. 4 years ago, D.C. was full of disorder, a lot of homeless encampments, but today it's cleaner and it's safer. This is according to a former New York police officer, Jillian Snyder. And then NBC News talked to 6 different policing and military experts. Well, they're baffled why Trump took over D.C. And let's go back to January 2025. Federal prosecutors there in D.C., they released a statement or a press bulletin rather, that violent crimes in D.C. had hit a 30-year low. And since then, it's gone down 26% more, according to the Metro Police Department there. So again, why did Trump take over D.C.? He cited the fatal shooting of a congressional intern and the carjacking of one of the original Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, one of the original members of that organization, if you want to call it an organization, Edward Korstein. He's known as Big, and I'm not going to say the rest, but BALLS. Yeah, he was carjacked. So now all of a sudden, D.C., well, this is how the Trump described it. He said, the Capitol is being overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of youth, drugged out maniacs, and homeless people. Because remember, Trump did sign an executive order that it's illegal to be homeless. Yeah. So the first effort of the FBI being involved in, running D.C., protecting D.C., or however you want to characterize it, it happened this weekend. About 120 FBI agents, pretty much from there in D.C., well, they were riding along with the Metro PD, but there was confusion. The agents from FBI didn't know who they reported to or what they were doing. But they're protecting D.C. Don't forget that. Now, the D.C. Police Union, they are kind of half and half. They say that there's a lot of mismanagement of the department and their staffing shortages, so that crime is spiraling out of control. And they welcome the federal intervention, but they want it to be temporary. But is it going to be temporary? Now, according to the D.C. Mayor, Muriel Bowser, she found that Trump's takeover unsettling and unprecedented. So that leads me to wonder, did she know ahead of time that this was going to happen? What do you all think? Now, Trump has 48 hours to notify Congress and to give an estimated timeline of how long this D.C. takeover by the federal government is going to be. Do you think that's going to happen? And according to the D.C. Home Rule Act, that's what he's supposed to do, with, notify Congress. And Trump he can be there for 30 days controlling D.C. unless Congress gives an extension. Me personally, I think this is an attempt at martial law. I think that Trump has been itching to declare martial law since he took office. Just didn't work out. He didn't rile up people that look like me, because that's what I think he wanted to do, so he could declare martial law. So now he's trying his best. I think this is a test run. What do you all think? Leave comments and let me know. Now I got one more doozy to talk about today. The Russia-Ukraine war. Back in February of 22, Russia invaded Ukraine, right? And reports are that, Putin, leader of Russia, thought it was going to be a quick war. They go in there and take over and it'd be all over pretty quickly. Well, 3 years later, they're still fighting. So this Friday, which I believe is the 15th, August 15th, 2025, Putin and the Trump are set to meet in the last frontier. That's Alaska. That's the nickname for Alaska. It's the first meeting of Putin with any leader of the G7 country since Russia invaded Ukraine. It's also the first meeting of the Trump and Putin during Trump's second term. This is what Trump said is going to happen there. There's going to be swapping of territories to the betterment of both countries. But let me add, Zelensky, leader of Ukraine, well, he hasn't been invited yet. Sources are saying that the White House is considering whether to invite him. Does that make sense? Okay, Trump is trying to broker a deal about a war, to end a war that's between two countries. Yet the leaders of both countries are not going to be there to participate in the brokering of the deal. Does that make sense to you all? Because it doesn't to me. Now, when Trump said there's going to be a swapping of territories, Zelensky wasn't having it, leader of Ukraine. He said Ukrainians will not give their land to the occupier. I should put it that way. That's what he said. Right now, Russia occupies about 20% of Ukrainian land because of the war, but they want even more land, you see. Now, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, M-E-R-Z, he stated, "We cannot accept territorial questions being discussed or decided between Russia and America over heads of the European countries and Ukraine." Then a joint statement from European countries was released, and they said, "The path to peace in Ukraine cannot be decided without Ukraine." So I think they get it. But the Trump and Putin, I don't think they do. Because how would you feel, fellow Americans, if we were in a war, if America was in a war, and another country was going to come in and try to broker peace between us and whoever we're fighting with, but we're not invited? We're not going to be part of the discussions or negotiations for peace. Does that sit right with you? Now, my sister made a joke that Trump was going to give Putin Alaska. Now, I know it's a joke. At least I hope it's a joke. What do you all think? What's really going on? What's really going on in D.C.? What's really going on between Trump and Putin meeting in Alaska? And let's say they reach a deal, Trump and Putin, over the Russian-Ukrainian war. How are you going to reach a deal if Ukraine's not part of the discussion? And how are you going to make Ukraine agree to any such deal? So many questions. Please leave your comments. Let me know what you're thinking about these two topics. Reminder, Blackout the System, September 16th through the 20th, 2025. And if you like this video or if you learned anything, please hit that follow button. That helps me immensely. And as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.